Welcome to the journal. Hello and welcome back to the journal. This is entry number 4, where I will talk about caring for the promise, the beginning processes of taking care of what I had waited for in my son, Levi. As I shared with the last entry, talking about how when you get the promise, it's not always the end of the storm. The storm had just really begun. So as my son comes home from the hospital, the first couple of months, I noticed a few health issues with my son. He had really loud breathing, and at times it was a little scary, and he would almost gasp for air. In the middle of the night, I would just sit there and watch him because it was just a little bit scary, just hearing him breathe, and sometimes it sounded like he was struggling to breathe. So one particular night, my son was about 2 months old, and in the middle of the night, he could not catch his breath. He had been breathing funny, and he just could not catch his breath. And it was like he was gasping and really struggling to get a breath in. So we ended up rushing him to the hospital, and it was kind of a fight. This was where advocating for Levi began for me. I was told, oh, this is normal. He's just, breathing. He just has a little noisy breathing, but it's pretty normal. And I didn't agree. So I refused to go home that night because I was nervous. I didn't want him to, just stop breathing in his sleep. So I pushed them to admit him. After they released us from the hospital, they suggested that we go see an ENT or a specialist just to follow up. And so I did that. And when I took him to see the specialist, at first they were like, oh, he just has what some babies have in noisy breathing, and they usually grow out of it. And I told them what I was hearing wasn't just noisy breathing. It was like he was literally gasping for air at times. And they did a scope to try to see if there was anything abnormal. And of course, what they found was extra skin that was laying over top of his airway. And again, they said, well, this is something that they can grow out of. But right before the doctor walked out, Levi began to breathe the way I heard him breathe. And she stopped in her tracks and she said, is that what you've been hearing? And I said, yes. And she said, that is not normal. So for the first time, someone understood why I was concerned. And so they gave us some options, and Levi would be scheduled for his very first surgery. So at 3 months old, Levi would have his first surgery, which was terrifying for a parent. He had to have the extra skin removed from over his airway. He had what was called laryngomalacia, which is a condition that some children get when they're born, and it's just having extra skin over their airway, which as they grow, it grows, their airway grows with them, so it clears the airway ultimately. Well, for Levi, it was extra long, and it was causing him restriction in his airway. And so his breathing was so loud. I mean, it was loud during the day. It was loud at night. When he was sleeping, it was loud. And so once they did the surgery, you couldn't hear Levi breathe. And I think for like the first 3 days, I just literally sat there watching him because I couldn't believe that he was actually breathing. I had to watch his chest rise and fall because I was so used to hearing him breathe all the time. So that would be his first of many procedures that he had to go through. And those first 3 months were a challenge because this was the beginning of me seeing things that were going on with my son and not knowing how his path was going to go. But in the early stages, we had several health challenges that we had to face just in the first 3 months of his life. And that was a challenge for me. But even before Levi got to 3 months, I had been re-hospitalized. Around about Levi being almost 2 months old, I hemorrhaged, and I ended up back in the hospital, and I could have died. I was bleeding out pretty bad, and so I ended up in the hospital for about, I want to say 5 or 6 days, and it was a challenge because I had just had Levi, and we weren't even a good month and a half out before having to be back in the hospital. And I had to go back to work late because I had to extend my maternity leave. So it was a lot of challenges just in those first few months of having my son. So on top of anxiety and depression and postpartum, I was dealing with health challenges, and then Levi ends up, having to have surgery and a procedure done. So like I said in entry 3, you think that you've come out of the storm because you received this thing that you've been waiting for so long, but you don't even know the ride that you're about to go on in the process. And so it's important to have that relationship with God. All I kept saying throughout those first few months of having Levi home was, God, it's gotta get better than this. Like, why is this so hard? I've waited and I've been through so much. I lost so much in the process, and still I'm fighting every day, it seems like, just to enjoy what I've waited for. And that can be such a difficult place to be in when you're trying to be grateful for what you have and what you've received, but it seems like everything's coming up against you in the process. This is why it's important to know that God is always present, and He always knows what's best. He knows what is going to come, what's going to happen, what you're going to go through, and we have to hold to His promise that all things will work together for the good, ultimately. It may not be immediate, and you may have to go through some things, and you may have to deal with some things in the process, but if you know that God is present, and you know that He's with you and He hasn't left you, that you can get through it. And what kept staying in my mind was the fact that the promise was fulfilled. He did what He said He was going to do. So if He brought it to me, He was going to make sure that I could make it through whatever was going to come my way. And so much more was coming my way. And so many things that I was not expecting. And this was only the beginning. This was only the start. Levi was such a joyful baby. Every time I looked at him, the smile that he had, the laughter that he had, it pushed me to continue to go. No matter what we were facing, he could be sick and you wouldn't know because of the smile that he always had on his face and the joy and the laughter. He was such a joyful baby, and he brought joy to me in time where I needed that. I was still going through depression and all of those things, emotionally that I was dealing with, and the mental things that I was dealing with. And every time I looked at my son, he gave me exactly what I needed to push me to say, Mommy, you got this. It might not have been words, but his smile and his laugh was what I needed. And God knew in that season of my life that Levi was exactly what I needed. So from the beginning of motherhood, caring for my promise was a challenge. And from the beginning, I saw that I was going to have to be an advocate for my son. Going to several different doctor's appointments and seeing that doctors and nurses sometimes don't listen and don't take into consideration what parents have to say, not thinking about the fact that the parent is who's with the child 24/7. Advocacy was necessary even at the very beginning. And so I started advocating for Levi and his health immediately. I didn't know that this was going to be a major part of my life, but it started. So sometimes we got to think about how God sets things up. Everything that you're going to need, He's already placed within inside of you. And when He brings something to you, whether it's a business, whether it's a child, whether it's a marriage, He's going to provide for you, especially if He brought it and if He gave it to you. He's going to provide everything necessary for you to do what's necessary for it. And that's something that I have learned. Everything that I've needed to care for my son, God had within me. I may not have seen it, may not even thought I was capable, but He placed everything there from the beginning. So let me encourage you, whatever it is that you're waiting for, or whatever it is that you're waiting to receive from God, or if you've received it, just know that when God brings it to you, He will make sure you have what you need. He will provide what's necessary to accomplish the goal, to take care of the promise, or to do what's necessary to keep the business going. He's going to provide everything that you need, especially if it's from Him. Now, if it's something you fashioned, don't expect it to be easy, and don't expect Him to provide it because it's what you tried to do and not what He did. But if it's from Him, if it's specifically given to you by Him, He's going to make sure you have what you need, because that's just the type of God we serve. And so I hope something that was said pushes you, encourages you, and keeps you going. And I hope that you just understand that God is always present, and that a relationship with Him is so necessary. With all that's going on in the world, just know that he is there. He's present. He's with you. He wants the relationship with you. He wants you to know that he got you in the palm of his hand. But he wants you to come to him. He wants you to talk to him. He wants you to relationship with him. He wants you to share with him the good, the bad, the ugly. He wants that relationship. So I hope you come back for my next entry number 5. And I pray that, again, that something blesses you, something pushes you to keep going. And don't ever give up. Be blessed.